Today we're checking out Aquapark Tycoon. This is releasing tomorrow, and it only came off embargo where I was allowed to stream it like 3 hours ago? Something like that. So, you know, fresh early preview. Now, there's a couple of features that this game has. Well, first I'll explain what the game is. So, Aquapark Tycoon, it's kind of your Tycoon game, very roller coaster Tycoon-esque. But instead of making this big roller coaster park, it's 100% based around water parks, so making wave pools and all this kind of stuff. So if you played like Planet Coaster 2, instead of just having a pool with a couple of flumes in it, it is the first party kind of like, the core of the game is all that water stuff. With that said, there are a couple of cool features that is featured in this that we don't see in other games. Like this big one for your Tycoon style game. That you can choose to do this multiplayer if you would like. For us here, we do have Twitch integration. Now, the one thing I'm going to watch is I don't know if this takes into consideration if someone's chatting or not. If it does bring up people who aren't chatting, we will disconnect it immediately. Just because it is one of those things that, you know, you don't want to out the lurkers. And there isn't any information here one way or the other. So I don't know how this works yet. But like I said, if we go in and we see that it's bringing up individuals that aren't chatting, it'll go away. But still, Twitch integration is always kind of fun. My understanding, the way this Twitch integration... Yeah, I can make it subscriber only, but that doesn't mean it's not lurkers or whatever. I'm not worried about, like, whose names are coming up, really. It's more like, you know, people want to lurk and not be part of the content and yada yada. And I want to respect that. It's the reason we do anonymous follows here and all that. But yeah, so we will figure that out. I imagine the subscriber only is for if someone like who's, you know, got 1,000 viewers or whatever is going, they might switch it to subscriber only from a practicality standpoint. With that said, one thing we usually do when we're playing a new game for the first time is we just kind of take a quick look to see what accessibility settings they have. As a reminder, not having accessibility settings is not necessarily a bad thing, but, you know, some games can be designed where it's just not important. It looks like you can change the day and night cycle. That might be around visual things, so I will argue maybe that's a visual accessibility setting. No flashing lights. That would be for epilepsy and stuff like that, so that's a good one. You can choose a Uniset. No, that's really accessibility. You can change your audio cues. That's not necessarily accessibility, but also cool. Camera, the edge scrolling, that could be a motion sickness thing, so that's a good one there. I don't know what smoothness is in this particular case. That could be anti-aliasing, it could be like motion blur, so I'm not sure what to make of that one. You can UI scale, so that would be another accessibility setting, so cool. We're not seeing anything particularly... Oh yeah, no, we got vignette. Vignette can be a motion sickness problem, so they do have a toggle to turn that off. So that's cool beans. So it looks like they do have a lot of decent stuff, considering this is an early access release that's not even out yet. You know, they've got some good stuff in there. So let's go ahead and begin a new game. So there's scenarios and free play. Generally in these Tycoon games, they tend to teach you the game mechanics in your scenario. So I'm going to start there, which does mean we're probably going to be trapped in tutorial land, but there's that. Okay, I see. So we've got our starting difficulty scenarios, our normal difficulty scenarios, and our experts. So we'll unlock them one by one. Let's learn the basics on how to build pools, water slide, and some necessary management to get you started to run a park. Cool. Do I hit the play button? Okay, so there's a little play button up there. Encoding is overloaded. Ah, the classic load screen. There are so many games that when you get to load screen, it just makes your camera in that slideshow on the stream because it just overwhelms stuff. Hi, and welcome to Aquapark Tycoon. Aquapark Tycoon is all about building and managing the water or spa and wellness amusement park of your dreams. Build pools, water slides, and saunas to attract guests to increase your park rating. You earn money through your park's entrance fee, food, and souvenir shops. And thank you for the follow. Welcome to stream. Yeah, no, it was definitely when it was loading, because I saw that the encoder was overloaded, which means it will get all framey. It's not doing that anymore. It was strictly on the load screen. That's very common. Like, not Medieval Dynasty. I always get this one back. Bannerlord. Bannerlord's another one that you get those load screens, and even like booting up RimWorld. RimWorld to make your camera all framey. Keep an eye out for guest thoughts, desires, and preferences to keep your park rating up. So one thing I'm noticing right here is if we think to other games in this genre, so Roller Coaster Tycoon or Planet Coaster, you can choose to have you charge for the entrance fee, but then the rides are more or less free, or the entrance fee is free, and then the rides are ridiculously expensive. And generally speaking, in almost all those games, price gouging people on the rides is where the money's at. And that usually it's like a challenge mode to just run on the entrance fee. So this one, on the other hand, the rides are not listed as a moneymaker here. That's for your park rating. So I'm just observing that. So it's the price of admission and then getting all your like little things. Time to min-max with our Tycoon game? Absolutely. Alright. So we get that out of the way. So we've got our screen covered with a bunch of stuff here. Let's kind of figure out what we got. So we can have up to 200 guests in the park. I don't know if that's a hard limit just in general, or there's like a rating or something else that changes that. I don't know what that's going on. We've got our park rating, of which we're at 34 out of 45. There is a line here. I have no idea what the significance of that line is. This is early access, so these are, I'm assuming, are higher tiers. That could be our goal. Yeah, that's very possible. But as you can see, this is early access. This is under construction, so those are not available at the higher tiers. Let's see. In your first scenario, your job is to build a new aquapark in a forest clearing. This is Spring Waters, where it always spring. The weather is nice and cozy and warm, and seasons don't have a strong impact on weather or temperature. Reach 200 guests. Okay, so that's my goal. So that's not a limit. That's my goal. Reach 200 guests and have a park rating of 45% by October 1st, year 1. Oh, okay. That's not today's date, that's the goal. So what is today's date? So we're on March 1st, year 1. So we have however many months, I'm not doing the math. We do have the thing of challenge mode. Want a challenge? Finish the scenario in the game. Sorry, basically we can have a time limit on this one, or we can have no time limit. So they do let you choose back and forth. Finish it by whenever. Okay, and there is achievements that will be added later. Let's go ahead and look at our other tabs. So we've got our park guest things. And it shows how many guests have your thought. One thing I immediately want is some type of symbolism of good or bad. So like little happy face, little sad face. It does list it by your stuff here, so we got a lot of people who are like, this pool is so much fun. And then a lot of people are complaining that there's no sauna or wellness area. A little bit more luxury would be nice. A place to stash your valuables. Yeah, so it's basically good response, negative. Yeah. And it's almost... It's basically one positive, all the way negative, and then a couple more positive, then negative. So, mostly bad news. Let's see. We have fun pool and open slide. And it has how much it costs in euro to keep these operating. Infusion panel. I have no idea what that is. Finances, we're charging €7 to get into the park. My expected profit is €7. We don't have any income going on. We do have autosave as a feature. And then we do have our loans, and it looks like... I have no context on the money in this game, but that doesn't look too terrible. We have our weather and all that. So we're going to have wind next week. Our electricity is going to cost us €40. And the heating is going to be about €26. We got a bunch of random statistics. I have no idea what bag storage is or valuable storage. I'm assuming those will be lockers for stuff. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is where it's actually filtered out by color. I would love to see this filtered out by color on this screen. Let's see. Please tell me you can make them sit in the sauna infused with lead or something. Probably not. I don't imagine it's that kind of game. Alright. We have luxury. So there's luxury rating that if I do these things, we increase our luxury rating. And in doing that, it'll basically give us richer guests and a higher park rating. So that way we can price out people of lower income. Build your first park. Take your time to get familiar with the controls. Hold the right mouse button to move. Zoom. Hold your middle mouse button to spin the camera. Build your first park. To get started, build a second pool. Open the build window at the bottom to start building a new pool. I'm assuming that's the build button because it's got a crane. Alright, so you got fun pool, swimmer pool, and all-around pool. Well, it looks like we already have a fun pool. We just have an all-around pool. Let's go ahead and grab the swimmer pool, maybe? Oh. Okay, so they've got the idea of blueprints where you can get, like, a pre-built one and just plunk it down. Or you can design your own. To build a pool, click and drag the shape with the mouse. Combine different basic shapes to get more advanced pool shapes. Drag from the outside of the pool to create indentions or islands. Alright. Add an entrance so people can get in easily and objects to your pool to improve its rating. Make sure not to build conflicting equipment next to each other, or else they will cancel each other out. Make sure you open your pool by clicking on the green traffic light icon. Closed pools won't be entered by guests, but they can also freeze over in winter. Can't decay and don't have any running costs. So, okay, one thing that is going to be an accessibility feedback, if this is presented as is, red light, green light, that is not good for people with color blindness, because red-green color blindness is the most common. It's about 1 in 10 people have at least some degree of red-green color blindness. So it is okay to use red and green here, but don't just use lights. Have like a check mark and an X, or, you know, stop sign and a check mark or whatever. Put some symbolism on it, and that'll be good. Yeah, shapes, symbolism. You can use red and green, but you need something in addition to red and green. Let's see. Pool depth matters. When designing pools, remember that some guests can't swim. Alright, so. We can go ahead here. Build your first park. Once you're happy with the shape of your pool, navigate to the second tab and add some equipment to it. Okay, and this is supposed to be a swimmer's pool. Tiled starting block. I'm not done yet. Give me a minute. I don't imagine you go to a water park in real life very often and see, like, a race lane or whatever. That feels way more like what you would find at, like, you know, a public pool. Oh, that's a different style. 1 second. Oh, I have no idea what I just brought up. Okay. How do I get back to where I was? Under build. There we go. Pool objects. Alright. Oh, I can click and drag. That's way less awful. And I can just move you, which I appreciate. It's always upsetting in Tycoon games. They're like, you can't move that. You need to destroy it and rebuild it from scratch. Alright, so we got a bunch of those. So those are the starting lines. And if you want to leave the pool, you got to go to the other side. Okay. Let's see, could you just fill the entire pool with race lines? Wait, it looked like you could place it outside of the pool? Maybe. A lot of times they do a lot of these games let you do stuff like that for aesthetics. That's a very common thing in, like, theme parks and all that, is being able to use stuff for unintended things for decorative. It'd just stop applying in the other ways. Alright. And I'll put a big pool light in the middle there. And that's probably fine. Once you're done building your pool, open it. Gotcha. And I can say it's open during certain seasons and closed different seasons. I can see that. Now, build a second water slide and open the build menu on the bottom to navigate the water slide and start building a new water slide. Okay, so put the water slide over here. So get you out of the way. Water slides. So you can do a slide tower. Apparently doesn't cost anything. Or we can build a slide. Let's see. Water slide building. To build a water slide, first place its start at the side of the, or on the slide tower. Then build the desired slide piece by piece, configuring each slide piece individually. You can change its left, right, up, down direction, as well as its length and style depending on the slide. Some water slides allow special parts, like a drop or funnel piece. Some of these can be configured individually. To finish the water slide, build an exit. You can either build a plunge pool or build an end section that must lead to a pool. Don't forget to do a test to make sure your slide is safe. So I already have a tower over here and I look at it, which weirdly is taller than all that. So let's go ahead and we have body slide or metallic open slide. Let's say a body slide. And let's put on the top floor, because why would I not do that? Okay. We're having a little bit of information overload here, but we'll do that in a second. Take your time to experiment with the controls and build a few turns and finally exit the slide. What happens if you do a test to show it's safe, then delete the pool that leads to? Usually in a lot of these games, it'll either A, let you do it, and then you have the consequence of people get hurt, and you usually get penalized for that. Or B, the moment you remove the pool, it's considered a change to the slide, and you have to set up to retest it. Okay, so we have the exit pieces. We have, like, the special turns. We have a normal tube, a half tube, and an open tube. Okay. And then these are what incline you want to give it. And then these are which way we want to make it bend. Yeah, no, I definitely feel like this wheel UI does feel like it could certainly use a little improvement. It's just, you've got a lot of different buttons here, and while they have the symbol and you can mouse over, like, these ones are grayed out, I can't even use these. It almost feels like these should be nested in some way, but that's okay. So let's start by going at a bit of a downward angle to start picking up some speed. Let's tighten the bend a little bit here. Fixed height down, fixed height up. Oh, interesting. Okay. So usually with these type of games, you'll have where like they'll start losing momentum, and eventually if it goes too slow, they'll start backing up on it, and then you'll have like an incomplete slide. We're not gonna push to see like how much we can break it yet, because we're just starting. Let's actually make sure we can do it right before we worry about seeing what we can do to make it wrong. I'm gonna level it out just for a spot here. They're gonna lower it again. Like, don't get me wrong, there is fun to like see, what is the limit, how it can break. That's obviously a thing. Gotcha. So we need 0 slope for these kind of things. Yeah, so you can S-curve it. You can just U-turn it immediately. Or you can make a little drop. And let's see. You got a plunge pool and an end section. So let's see if that's fine. It might be too close to the edge. Alright. Exit the building mode. Yeah, so it's... Oh no, they let you skip right to it. Okay. A lot of these games, they force you to go through the starting body, or like the test. And then only if the person gets off the other side does it let you. What if we exit for this thing was a small pool, and the only out was the gate taxing you in and out? There's not a toll gate in this. The ways you make money in this one is the entrance fee, and then like food and souvenirs. The rides you don't charge for, and one would assume you can't, like, put a toll gate. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's ways we can break this. So let's go ahead and choose test. I'll see how that goes. Test on body failed. People would get injured. That's what I was worried about. So edit. Let's back it up. That said, it was going to let me just open it. Like, without the testing. So I very well could have just opened and called it a day. So let's try doing this a little farther back where it just drops in, and that should be safer. No, you have to manually test, but surprisingly, it looks like you can just open an unsafe slide. But I imagine it's probably not unlike Roller Coaster Tycoon, where if it's unsafe, it won't let you open and do stuff. Alright, so it is open now. Build your first park. Your guests must be able to change into their swimsuits. Build 2 more changing rooms. Okay, so I'm assuming that's here. Soda stall, french fries, vending machines. Classic changing room, metallic changing room. Your guests have to have a place to put their bags somewhere. Build 3 more bag shelves. Oh, here's what the other changing room is. Build 3 more bag shelves for their bags. I'm assuming that's a bag shelf. I think one thing I'd love to see is I'm hitting R to rotate that, which brings this up. I almost wish it was like you click and hold to do this. Or you can instead, or instead you can just like tap it to move it like some set amount. How move? Okay, we grabbed the little pin. Alright. Yeah, so it got a little bit of UI pains. But considering this is like a pre-release of the early access version, let's see, not so fun fact, the chlorine smell in public pools is actually the smell of chlorine doing its job. Yep. Which means you need to have biological matter in the pool. Or to build 3 more bag shells? Is that... Oh, 3 more bag shells, not 3 total bag shells. I can do a read. Let's start with some research. Open your research window and start investing money to gain research. Okay, so research in this game is directly money. Which one? There's our research. Research speed. I see. So you can choose how much you want to spend a month to get research. And then we get points, and then we spend our points on that stuff. Cool. In the meantime, we should add some food stalls. Build a food stall. Okay. We can go to our shops. So we have 2 different French fry stalls. And a soda stall. That's really weird that we have French fry stall twice. Build a soda stall. Oh, there's a weird ramp there. Hang on. I missed that there's this weird ramp here, so it'd actually be kind of hard to work with that. Sure. We can move you over here instead. Then you can get all your greasy fries directly at the pool. Okay. Your guests will now produce some trash. Build some trash cans to keep your park clean. Okay. Oh, interesting, you can also make standalone counters. I'm imagining we aren't seeing half of what we are, so we can get a wooden trash can, a plastic trash can, or an angular trash can. I mean, honestly, of these, the angular trash can looks the least terrible. Also put that by our stalls. Put another one over here by the exit. Put one here by the bag area. Let's see how that goes. Trash cans need to be emptied. Open the staff window and hire a janitor. Staff window, being a briefcase, is a little surprising. We have a lifeguard. We have a sauna master. We have a technician. We can hire a new janitor. Finally, build some restrooms for your guests. Okay. It's under object. Simple locker, classic locker, fancy restrooms, simple restrooms, wooden resort stall. We're of course going to put the restrooms right by the dumpster. Alright. Wait until you've collected enough research points to research something new. Do whatever you feel like. Okay. What does the diamond symbol mean? It's probably earlier we saw there was a luxury symbol. Yeah, park luxury. That basically we have to hit certain requirements, after which point we are a luxury 1, and then we get a bonus for it. Then, you know, you do these requirements for luxury 2, yada yada, luxury 3, yada yada. So they're like milestones you hit to unlock more stuff. So let's let this run for a minute. So I have no idea what our profit expectation is. Yeah, so unfortunately it is counting the construction against my profit, which makes sense from the big thing, but I'm more trying to gauge my operating versus my capital expenditures. Should I be on the positive? This is the first scenario, so I'm going to go ahead and approach this by going slam that all the way to the right. Research more, faster, better. Let's get a look at these character models. Okay. They're kind of like simple little models. They're not bad. Little, like, mildly big head. It's a little jarring that there's no turn animation for people swimming laps. Yeah, I mean, but that's not a big deal. Keep in mind this is a early preview of an early access game. So there's going to be a lot of those like little niceties that'll probably be missing. The big question is the gameplay loop fun? Does it seem like if they keep doing what they're doing, how it'll go? I am finding it interesting that you can see the guests through the sides of the tubes and all that. Also, the idea you have this whole park and there's just like one lifeguard wandering around that has to keep track of this. And you're like, and there's our lifeguard, not even by the pools. The lifeguard is over here chilling on this hill being like, man, I'm not paid enough to do this. You know, versus like there's no attendant, no safety, no anything like a lifeguard managing any of this to make sure people aren't doing dumb stuff. You know, you don't even have lifeguard coverage like per pool. Like, genuinely, in a real-life water park, you'd have probably 1 or 2 people watching this pool. You'd have 1 or 2 people responsible for this pool itself. You would likely have a person on each of these sets. And then you'd probably have at least, like, 1 spare backup person. Can you drag guests around? Yes. Yeah, so we've got the 1 lifeguard. Okay. I haven't been paying attention to the guests at all to see. Because supposedly we have, like, the Twitch integration turned on. Is there a list of names? Okay, so there's, like, filters to see different things. It doesn't show names there. Yeah, so the Twitch integration stuff's working. I'm not seeing it, which is fine. The Twitch integration is just supposed to have the guests have names on them, but I have no idea how well it works or anything like that. Alright, so how much research do I need? So I need, well, it's 5 research for a souvenir shop or an ice cream stall. Get the souvenirs. I might have just needed to wait for them to give me more information. Alright, but putting the rest of the stuff over here so far as... Woo, indeed. Okay, they're open by default. Alright, let's just wait. I'm imagining need to wait till we have 10 research, because it probably wants me to open one of these other rides or something here, versus I was immediately like, okay, let's just grab the next research. Like, next I can grab the pirate theme. Okay, so just checking, that does look like we have someone from the audience here, and it does appear to be someone who has not spoken. So what I'm going to go ahead and do then is I'm going to quickly go into the options and I'm going to turn that off. Because that was my concern, is that it would grab people who didn't say anything in chat. So we've turned it back off. So the commentary to the devs, if you watch this later, Twitch integration is cool. Having it so you can have your guest names is cool. That needs to either be based on a point redeem or that they've spoken in chat, not that you're just present in chat. We have a thing on Twitch about not calling out lurkers and all that. And when you just kind of grab viewers at random from that and just shove them in, you are by their nature calling out lurkers. And it's just, you know, people don't always want their name acknowledged, recognized. They just want to lurk, mind their own. Especially like other content creators. If, for example, I have like a friend of the channel hanging out who's just trying to relax and not, you know, be asked a bunch of questions, or even like the game devs. There's times they'll have game devs like lurking in the chat, like when I was playing Project Zomboid, to have a bunch of the game devs chilling a lot of the time. And you don't want to have it where it's like, oh hey, this game dev's in chat, and then people start asking that game dev a bunch of questions while they're just trying to work on the game and are just, you know, being active in the community and all that. So yeah. So that's the reason that got turned off immediately, is because can't have it. Alright, so like I said, we're waiting till we hit 10 research. There are game speed buttons, so let's go ahead and speed up the game a little bit. What are Joy Sparks? Joy Sparks. Catering to your guest's personal needs and preference gains Joy Sparks. You can use them to build special prestige objects, and even more soon. So we can build butterflies and fireflies and ghosts and snow and a golden fountain and a golden kraken fountain. Not enough Joy Sparks. Okay, so we're gonna have like the cooler aesthetic stuff going through there. What are you complaining about? Never mind. We have more to do. Open the research and research a new slide or pool. Alright. We can get a raft slide or a wellness pool. We saw a lot of guests complain about the lack of a wellness stuff. Let's grab the wellness pool. And thank you for the stream streaks. I do appreciate it. We got a 80 stream streak by Liam, a 5 stream streak by Duchess Princess, and a 40 stream streak by Kloss. So thank you so much for that. Well done. Continue building and researching more pools and water slides to attract more guests and increase your park rating. Okay. So basically, make park bigger, better. Right. So I want to go to pools, wellness pool, because that was a requirement for a bunch of things. We'll grab this. Okay, so we actually have an okay spot. I was sitting here being like, man, this is claustrophobic. But there's actually a bit more over here. Doesn't look like a giant area, but this is like literally the first scenario. So let's try the freeform sketching for the wellness pool. I wonder how much we can deal with weird terrain. Alright, so it doesn't like me trying to build up there, which makes sense. It's this like giant ramp. Alright, so let's go over here. Alright, I'm not really understanding the draw tool much. So there's 3 settings here that all have the same icon. So I'm really not sure how any of that works. Okay. I don't know why I made a big circle, but alright. Okay, so those all make it round, but I don't really understand how. Alright, let's just go ahead and we can go from circle from a corner, circle from the center. Raise pool floor, rotate pool floor, lower pool floor. I don't really know. Alright, so another thing I'd love to see is an undo button. It's actually going to make this like an like a little ramp in that would have the stairs or whatever, but it's fine. We can do it that way instead. Alright, so we got a weird shaped pool here. So pool depth. Click to drag to make the depth. Get off my mouse. Alright, let's go to the edit. Yeah, so this tooltip is kind of annoying. There's no slope. Oh, you can change the grid pattern if you wanted. That's kind of cool. So if you're trying to do, like, if I wanted to have it like a 45-degree angle there, I could rotate the grid to a 45-degree and then put it down to make it a diagonal. So that lets you make some pretty cool shapes and all that. Not a lot of games let you change the grid. I don't know at all what depth this should be. So pool objects. So I have the pool stairs into the wellness pool here. So put the little waterfalls on that side. Yeah, so a bunch of these add different check marks. So those add exclamation marks and that. So I'm assuming exclamation mark means a potential for injury. The beach ball's probably fun. And then the barbell's probably like exercise. But then there's like a relaxation bar or something like that. Built-in pool lounge. So we're getting a bunch of that. We got massage jets, because this is intended to be our wellness relaxation pool or whatever. Single massage jet, air bubbler. Full water purifier. We'll put that over here. So that's like your water strainer, all that garbage. Pool noodles for fun. This is not the fun pool. Plastic spray fountain. Okay, we'll put one of those on either side. Alright, let's see how that goes. So to get, like, overall stats, yeah, so this pool has a very high relaxation rate, a very a decent wellness rate, a little bit of fun. Ah, that's an action rating. Okay, so I missed that. Versus this pool here has lots of fun and a little relaxation. And then this pool here is mostly just sport. And it looks like we've achieved our, well, we're about to achieve our rating requirement for the scenario. And all that. So now it's a matter of just getting more guests. We could probably, you can build different floors that you can either paint or click and drag. The cliff tool lets you raise or lower cliffs from the ground. The hill tool lets you make smooth terrain and all that. Use the flatten tool to create easy flat surfaces. Alright. Alright, so we've got these all connected. I don't know if you even need the paths. It looks like they'll just cut through the grass, but still. Looks like some type of walkway. We're getting pretty close to getting our first prestige thing. And currently we have 151 guests. So we just need to keep that going. So looking over here, it looks like we're running out of cubbies there. So let's go to our objects. Let's see, we got lockers for valuables. Guests think the entrance fee is cheap. Well, maybe I think the guests are cheap. Oh, that's just the way the entrance is. Put down some more trash cans. I'm seeing a lot of them walk back and forth over here. Alright. Gonna make a not terrible bathroom to go back here. So only those who are over here willing to spend money will find the bathroom. I don't think I'm paying enough for this. It says no one ever. So price $8. We're waiting for feedback. Build a new wave pool slide with a fun rating of 4 or more and have 15 people swimming out without an accident. Sure. I just realized I don't actually have the research to do that. I'm assuming this bar is either completion percentage or whatever. So you get like little mini objectives. I can get behind that. Meanwhile, go ahead and drag you over here. And let's see, in Roller Coaster Tycoon, they used... I think this is a great value as a way to indicate underpriced. Yeah, no, that's basically what it was like. Wow, that was a great value. And you're like, you fools. You fools have let us know. Alright. So we're about to get the thing here. I am noticing there's nobody coming to the wellness pool. These other pools are absolutely slammed with people. But the wellness pool? Oh. Yeah, in case you're forgetting, I actually have to open the pool. So I've had this, like, wonderful looking pool sitting over here in the corner and be like, nah, you're not allowed to get in that. It's not open. Alright, so we got the wave pool unlocked for a side objective. Yeah, that's definitely... I would definitely say, like, the game's got some promise, but, there's definitely some UI pain. It's not actually what it's going. It's going for more of an angular one, which I'm assuming one of these would represent. Okay. Yep, so we have the shallow and we have the deep end. I see. We have different borders on it, different tiling patterns. That's fine. Chlorine water, strong chlorine water. Ah, yeah, that way everyone's eyes can burn as it was meant to be. Pool lane divider, that's fine. Got decals, we got a bunch of these things. Wave machine. I probably only need one, but what if we had more? Sure. So a lot of fun, a lot of action. I mean, ignoring the fact that the water doesn't break, so it makes it look a little weird. That's not an insignificant wave pool. Oh, that's your hair. I thought I had like this like who was it from Star Trek? Who had like the little oh no, one of Star Trek, it would have been Lobot from Star Wars. Has like the little wraparound thing. I was like, what is that? Hey, Sick, thank you so much for the 15 stream streak. I do appreciate it. So that's boosting the action. So we're right about to hit the 200 guest requirement. I have been ignoring all of our guests' feedback because why would I listen to my guests? The entrance fee is really cheap. Oh ho ho. Oh ho ho. Say no more. And then we need to have 15 guests entered. They're working on it right now. Congratulations. This is your first scenario. It's your job to build an Aquapark in the forest clearing. Oh, that's the description of it. You continue to play, you can continue in free play mode or try to reach higher goals. Claim a reward. Alright. Yeah, and so this is the initial goal of the scenario. But then later on, they're going to have higher difficulties and all that. Okay, so let's save that. Sure. Spring waters. And we'll save that. Let's exit to the main menu. And so continue would take us right back to that one. New game scenarios. So that does unlock the next scenario. So learn about saunas and luxuries and curing ailments. People in the slippery desert dooms want one thing above all else. Cooling down and riding water slides. Build as many slides as pools as you can. Build a big water retreat with a calm landscape. Okay. And that shows that we have finished the scenario. Alright, so let's go ahead and check the next scenario here. Yeah, so definitely, you could definitely see where the early access part of this is coming into it, where you have your scenarios, and you'd have, like, your beginning, intermediate, and expert, or, like, you know, your different staged goals. And yeah, we're getting slideshowed because it's just loading the game and making the scenario. What I actually should do is we're going to exit out of the scenario real fast when we get into it. Let's look at the free play mode to see the size of the map. But, overall, I would definitely say... Oh, okay, that's just going to say the same thing every time, so go ahead and get rid of the introduction. Yeah, so this one is basically the same requirements as last time, slightly higher park rating requirement, and that we'd have to have a luxury rating of 1. We pointed that out earlier, that if we look at the luxury rating here, so it's basically have 1 research luxury 1, 1 luxury 1 pool, a sauna, 6 showers, and all that. So that's a fairly linear unlock, which is fine. But you get Research Luxury 1, Research Luxury 2, Research Luxury 3, and you unlock these milestones. So if we looked at our research, Yeah, this is the Luxury 1 research, which costs apparently only 5, which... Well, I have... Oh, I don't have any research. Yeah, so it's actually not a very big cost. And so my assumption is I unlock Luxury 1. Once I meet the necessary requirements for Luxury 1, then I unlock Luxury 2, do the requirements, Luxury 3. But what I want to see really fast is to go back to the main menu, because what I didn't think about this till I started that, is how big can the map get? Wait. Oh, weird. So I could choose to have like non-standard seasons, so we just skip spring and fall and go directly from winter to summer. That's interesting. Let's see. You can have infinite money, everything is researched. Okay, a selection of attraction based on a goal is available for research. All pool, slide, shops, utility are available for research. This takes a lot of time, that's fine. Biome, random, except flat. Flat, green hills, meadow mountains, sedimented meadows, dreamy dunes, dry desert, cliffy hills, wild things. Arctia? I mean, that makes me think Arctic, but Arctia? I don't know what an Arctia is. Say dry desert, no goal, random goal, all-around park goal, pool-focused goal, slide-focused goal, sauna. We'll say random. Difficulty, no pressure, normal, challenge, expert, challenge. Duration, short, medium, long. So I actually appreciate this. So you can be like, hey man, give me a challenge. Here's how severe I want it to be. So you can choose to have like no sweat, take all time in your world, but this is just what this is the goal to win the game. Or hey, no, I actually have a milestone here. Let's go ahead and just say very long. I'm not actually planning to invest time into this run. I'm just trying to get an idea of like how big can the map be, what is considered a challenge run. So like that'd be your not really hard mode, but your kind of hard mode, stuff like that. So it'd be good to get a good feel for that. I also want to see, with all unlocks being available, what is the big variety? So like what's the breadth of the game right now with its early access release tomorrow? Okay. So the starting things it gave me is for a challenge, so second highest difficulty, which, like I said, it's kind of like it's not clear whether challenge mode or whatever. And it's also interesting that you could be like, you know what, never mind. And it's also neat that you could change this as you go. So if you're doing the challenge mode and then you're like, I'm just having fun, I'm not going to hit the mark, I don't care, let's go ahead and switch to cozy. You can just get rid of the time span that you can fail if you want. So it wants me to build 1,755 meters of slides, have at least 11 different slides, and a park rating of 80%. So this is considered a high level difficulty. 80% seems like a pretty high park rating. Obviously there's nothing here yet. And so you've got the entrance here. So this is the maximum size the map can be. So it's not a huge map by comparison to, say, like Planet Coaster, or, I mean, compared to Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, this seems maybe comparable, because this building is a fairly large building down here. So for context, let's look at what the, so like this would be a shop. So I would say that's probably, like, I don't know which is bigger, Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 or this, but this feels comparable in size. I don't know how much verticality you can do in this game. I imagine it's rather limited. So far as your pools go, your water slides probably can be absolutely ridiculous. But Actually, that'd be a good thing we can test. Don't show that again. If I build... Oh, actually, can you stack? Alright, let's see if there's... Okay. So that's how high you can build. And you can add hills and terrain here somewhere. Again, don't do that. So what is the limit here? That's pretty good. So then if we take this... Oh, I can't move you. Interesting. Other stuff I can move, but apparently the water tower. It's probably because they expect you to attach. So you can go pretty high, but I suspect this is dead out of play, would be my assumption. That there's no probably tunneling and all that. I could be wrong. So it does seem like there's not a huge amount of like Z level you can abuse on this regard. Because one thing that ended up happening with a lot of this is when it comes to consideration the Z level in that regard would just be the whole you build water slides. And as far as I've seen no implication of being able to like go uphill on a water slide so far as like having a conveyor system or whatever. That could be something that happens. Let's peek at the research real fast and see what's down here. Okay, so I can't actually see what's available down there. So you have high-speed slides, metallic racer slides. It is interesting that they gave me access to those. Yeah, so it could be that you get like a water coaster down here, maybe way late in the game, that maybe you can go uphill with. But overall, it does seem like there's going to be some level of limitation there. And all that. So overall, I am fairly impressed with this game. It is early access, and there's definitely limitations we're seeing so far as like, again, going back to the challenges up here. That, like, the implication here is you'd have this challenge to do, and then there'd be, like, the next step up once you finish that one, and the next step up once you finish that one. That's missing. There's definitely some UI pain. The research, unfortunately, I kind of don't like that we can't see what comes later, because it does make it hard for me to have any point of reference on that. So what I might actually do is something that's probably a bad idea. How fast does research happen if I just full blast fast forward and maximum research points? And how fast does my money go away? Yeah, so the only thing here being at the moment the research. Nah, it's gonna take too long to be worthwhile. Yeah, because I was trying to get a gauge of like how much is implemented in here. Let's try jumping into... Let's try jumping into that. Does Cozy Mode have any sort of... build? Well, there is like an unlimited building, because there is like infinite money, and have all oh yeah, we can just do that. That'll do. We won't worry about making it the full size, we'll just choose random and random. Yeah, we can do that real fast to see what the research is. Because I'm just trying to get a scope of like... what amount of the game is currently implemented in the early access, because it looks like challenges aren't fully implemented in the sense that you've got your first tier and then there's 2 more tiers not in there yet. And I want to get a feeling for the research, because that's usually a lot of early access games, that's where you're missing as well, is that it could be like luxury 1 or 2 might not be implemented. That's fine. So if we look at this, okay. So we have sauna, sulfur pool, hot springs pool, beach pool. So those are different styles of pool. A looping slide. A high thrill slide with a vertical loop built into it. Okay. A super raft slide. That's fine. We have steam baths. So a lot of these are like buildings here. You got theming. We got luxury too. It looked horizontal. Yeah, well, I mean, the idea is it goes down and then it kind of comes up a little ways and then comes back down using the momentum. So I believe you could Oh, no, I couldn't implement that. That's right, it wouldn't let me do that angle. But yeah, so it does go back up, but you need to keep your momentum and all that. But the question is, now be under the slide side. So I've got that. We've got the metallic one that was available. We've got a corkscrew style here. We've got like kind of a wide raft one. We've got like a drop slide, a pass slide, a funnel slide, metallic open slide, raft slide, mini slide, a wave slide, and a body slide. So looking at all the slides, there's nothing that allows you to get up, like actual up, because it's all gravity fed. There's no like chain or conveyor belt or whatever to go uphill. So you will have some verticality limiting. That's not super surprising. It is a little surprising to me to have a game based around water parks and not have a water coaster, because water coasters are kind of a big thing in water parks these days. And all a water coaster is, for those who don't know, is it's when you have the water slide, it'll go up, but it'll have jets of water behind you, and it's a raft ride, so it pushes the raft uphill really quick. So like the whole time the slide is going like really fast. And these all mostly just seem, well, this is a lazy, well, that's, yeah, there's a lazy river. But all the rest of these are different implementations on pools. Like different themes, like indoor, outdoor. So there's a bunch of different styles of pools, so that'll make for a good like play around that. But they're just pools. And then the saunas all seem to be enclosed spaces that looks like you can design the shape of them. So in a lot of ways it works like the pool, except instead of water, it's out there. And then these are all your different restaurants and whatnot. Which again, there's no complaints about this, and this is all theming and decoration. So you got pirate theme, starry sky theme, tropical theme, fairy tale theme, and antique theme. And then these just give us, okay, and then upgrading the luxury gives you different like recliners and different places to store your stuff at higher luxury levels. You have different sources of heat and power, so you got geothermal, solar, and the sunscreen shop. So it does look like there's a decent amount here. And the implication is that all of this is available right now. So that would tell me that everything they've got in the game is available right from the get-go. So far as like currently in the game. So these are the pools. So if we looked at the slides, work in progress, white water slide, work in progress, raft ride. Okay, so I'm assuming these ones are labeled as work in progress. We can build, but there might be problems with it. Or it's incomplete implementation. So let's see how many of these are labeled as work in progress. Cheat slide, nope. Nothing to see here, keep browsing. I assume it just won't work, right? Okay, it doesn't do magic power. Well, that's an interesting thing. They do have it smart enough to have the water dump out the wrong side. Okay, because I was curious where it's at. So clearly the cheat slide nope is like their dev mode slide that there's there. So the wave slide is fully implemented. So good news is most of these slides are implemented. It's only these last two on the end that are work in progress, and then the cheat slide nope, which is like, again, like a dev mode slide. Let's check the pools. So the last two pools, the cascading pool where it's got multiple tiers to it, and then the saltwater pool are the work in progress. And all the other slides appear to be fully implemented. Check the sauna. The infrared sauna is being worked on still. So it does seem like of the stuff they listed in each category, there's like one that doesn't work. Okay, and this is interesting. So you could use infusions and they basically boost what the sauna does. The shops. are all implemented. So let's see if this one had, when we were doing the stores and all that, we had 2 fry places. Yeah, for some reason they have 2 different fry stalls with the same stats. I guess they're just different themes, but the other, oh, I guess they do. I guess they have 2 different themes is the idea. Then we got all this stuff. We have our different themes for everything. We have area and walls, indoor area, forbidden area, and place doors. So we can make enclosed and all that spaces. So it looks like there's a decent amount here, especially considering this is early access. So it definitely feels like there's enough stuff you could get into to properly play this and have yourself a good time. But there is definitely some early access pain, primarily the UI. Like, for those who didn't see when I go to build a water slide here, we could just go here. That this UI here is a whole big thing. That's like, this is your verticality, this is how much your turn is, and this is like what type of special things you're doing, whether you're open or closed. If we make this flat, then you could do like special things that you have like a big drop in your slide or a curve, or you can like make it rotate around. But it definitely looks like they got a good start here. I don't know what their milestones and what they're trying to aim for with this are. I do wonder long term, like, it seems like the only statistics you deal with the park is number of guests and your overall park rating, and your park rating determines what people are willing to spend and all that. So not as involved as a lot of other games in the genre, but that could be an early access thing. Because they don't have a roadmap or whatever that I can see here of any kind. But all in all, I'm generally left with a relatively good impression. I don't think on the stream right now I want to go through all the scenarios and all that. And missing on the higher challenge modes puts a little bit of a limitation on what I want to do. So I actually don't think I'm going to play this particular game very long on stream. I think it's got a good start. It does have pieces missing. It does have early access pains. And I am very curious about, like, once it's got time to get some feedback and cook a little bit, like, how much the UI gets cleaned up. But, overall, it's a pretty standard entry into the genre. Just, you know, approaching it from the Aquapark side as opposed to the roller coaster side. But it does definitely have a lot of similarities with, like, Planet Coaster 2 and Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, except, again, centered around the water park side, which I think is a good idea. Because right now in the water park games, we have a lot of low-effort, poorly made ones. We do have Planet Coaster 2, but it only kind of dips its toe into the water park side, but without, like, properly committing. And then there's a bunch that are like this one in early access that they show promise, but it's kind of a wait and see. So with that said, what I think I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and put up a poll real fast about what we want to do for the rest of the stream and what do now. And that's going to be whether we want to go and jump back into a RimWorld run. We could do Parcel Simulator. I'll put Vintage Story on. To keep in mind, the Vintage Story we would be jumping on into our existing playthrough where we're making steel. So that's primarily going to be me like just processing steel and like building the house kind of thing, because we kind of got the resources. I would potentially go looking for Peridotite. But that's pretty much what it would be, is like a little bit of exploring and then just feeding coal into the, or charcoal into the steel thing and all that. So that'd be a very just kind of chill and talk kind of game. Is there anything else I want to toss on the list there? We did Corsair Cove the other day, and I had fun with it, but it definitely felt like one of those games that it's for a city builder, it's a lot less focused on the city building and a lot more focused on that farm sim. I could put farm sim on there. That'd be jumping into our existing Survivor Man challenge going. Simulator. And is there anything else we want to put on the list? Because yeah, like I said, this is kind of a thing I do these days. Is a lot of times with early access games, I will give them kind of a poke, be like, what do I think? How is this going? Um, and then once you got kind of get a feel for it, it's like cool. I'll come back when it's done. Because very genuinely, it just doesn't feel good to go into a game that I can't finish. And that's one of the reasons why like I bounced off the scenario a little bit, is I already got the first objective done and it didn't feel like it took that much to get, which is the first mission, you expect that. But like then you'd expect the extended milestones to add like a little bit more difficulty, like a higher rating or whatever. But those aren't implemented yet, so I can't even finish the first level and then the Steam achievements not being there. And that's just early access pains. So I'm also, where did it go? The other one I could do is Train Week. You need to be a lot more specific. I could put Fog Piercer on there. I have that one from Hooded Horse, and that's like a train-based deck builder game. I don't do many deck builder games on it. Low key, I'm very mixed on deck builders. A lot of times for me, going to like the card style of deck builders usually feels like a little bit of a lazy way to implement it, which is unfair. There's a lot of really good ones out there. I'm just kind of tired of that UI. It's just, oh, it's a roguelite? Well, it's a deck builder now. That's like, okay, cool, man. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start that poll. Bannerlord? Probably not. There's nothing happening in Bannerlord right now. I'd rather do something that has something relevant going on. They fixed the Warship DLC. Yeah, there's Evertrain in various train simulator games. Yeah, no, I would be down for doing some train games like Derail Valley. I would be absolutely down with doing Derail Valley. It just needs to be a thing that like I can't just do that in the middle of stream and be like, let me go and buy this and download it and get it all going. You risk disconnects and all sorts of like problems. But I am down to play those games, so if people have suggestions, like obviously if you put them in the game suggestions channel on the Discord, it's much easier for me to go back and see that. But yeah, so RimWorld, we would continue the run we've got going on with the Grav ship, where we're being chased by the Mechanoids. Parcel Simulator would be continuing our save from yesterday. Vintage Story would be continuing the save that we're all the way in the end game making steel equipment and all that. So it'd be mostly just kind of chill base building and then looking for Peridotite to make the steel production less of a pain. Farming Simulator, we would jump into our existing Survivor Man Challenge, where the next crap we've got listed to do is sugar beets, because I've been spinning a wheel to decide what crops I have to do. And then Fog Piercer, we would check that game out, which is like a train-based deck-building tactical game. I don't really have a whole lot to say. I think what Sizzle means is Steam having a train theme. Yeah, no, I got you, Firebird. That's part of why we put Fog Piercer on there, is that it's a train-based game. But it's basically saying I'd be down for doing some train stuff. I don't own that many train games that would be particularly relevant right now. Which the Derail Valley would be one I'd be down to check out. Fog Pierce is a relatively new... Ooh, was it new release or 1.0? I think it was 1.0 recently. And we got that one. Because a lot of the other train games I have are like Train Tycoon games and all that, which are good. But like none of them have had like an update or a release, or is like at all relevant. No one's looking for them on the platform kind of thing. Like the Railroad Empire style games and all that, which are fun. But like, you know, they've been out for years without major updates or DLC or whatever. So, not really a big thing. Or also have like the, oh, what was it? Like Train Station Renovator or something like that, that we played, which was fine. And that kind of thing. Like, it wasn't a bad game or anything like that. I had fun with it, but it's not one of those games that, you know, it can be fun for a little bit of content, but not a whole thing for a lot of stuff. Let's see. Your cat is unable to hunt and kill a fly earlier today, and now seems suggesting that if more flies are not procured for her entertainment, she may consider hunting human instead. Oh, was able to hunt. It's like the cat's like, I've got the taste for blood. Alright, so with that said, what is going to happen, for those watching over on the YouTube side, the stream is going to be coming down, because I will have to switch, you know, to a new stream to bring it back up for the new game, and that's just because YouTube doesn't have a thing where it can be like, change category, boom, make a new video or whatever. So it is just one of those things. It's probably my biggest complaint on the YouTube platform so far as the live streaming side. It's very normal during stream to like switch categories, and it is a huge headache to do that on the YouTube side. So I'll go ahead and start getting that set up. We're going to lose the audio from the game. I'm going to start booting up RimWorld, because unless there's an upset here, it looks like we're going towards RimWorld, which is fine. So let me go ahead and get this out of here, end that there. I'll start booting that up. If it goes a different way, that's totally fine. But that's all the reasons why I didn't just immediately jump in and do fog